Live from New Delhi, you're watching Lead India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives to a rousing welcome on a two-day state visit to Maldives. President Mohammad Muizzu, with key cabinet members, receives the PM as a special gesture. PM Modi to be the guest of honor at Independence Day celebrations. Progress in implementation of comprehensive economic and maritime security partnership on the agenda. Industry leaders hail India-UK free trade agreement, trade deal to boost exports, innovation and talent flow. Indian textile, gems and jewellery sectors to benefit, medical devices to get cheaper. Iran to hold nuke talks with European nations in Turkey today. Failure to resume negotiations would lead to international sanctions. And in sports, Koneru Humpy sets up historic All-Indian Women's World Cup final. Will face 19-year-old Divya Deshmukh in the first ever Indian final showdown. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Malé to a rousing welcome. PM Modi, who is on a two-day visit to the archipelago, was received by President Mohammad Muizzu along with key cabinet ministers at the airport as a special gesture. During his two-day state visit, PM will hold key talks with President Dr. Mohammad Muizzu, focusing on enhancing cooperation in areas including connectivity, climate resilience, economic development and maritime security. PM Modi will also attend the 60th anniversary of the independence of Maldives as a guest of honor. And upon his arrival in Malé, Prime Minister Modi said he was deeply touched by the gesture of President Muizzu to come to the airport to welcome him. In a social media post, the Prime Minister expressed confidence that India-Maldives friendship will scale new heights of progress in the times to come. And the Indian diaspora greeted PM Modi upon his arrival with a traditional Chow dance performance. This is Prime Minister's third visit to Maldives and the first visit by a head of state or government to Maldives during the presidency of Dr. Mohammad Muizzu. PM Modi's Maldives visit promises to further solidify India's neighbourhood first policy and reinforce its role as a trusted development partner of the Maldives. And medical facility of Maldives will get the power of Bishma. PM Modi will gift 2 Bishma cubes to Maldives during his 2-day visit. Built under India's Arogya Maitri program, Bishma is a modular, self-sufficient healthcare unit meant to serve any place that lacks immediate medical infrastructure, regular primary health care, outreach, mass gatherings, remote island clinics, as well as natural disaster or calamity sites.
Please tell us about your station.
This is the basic operation room setup where we can do limb and life-saving surgeries, and we have all the equipments which are chargeable. This is a rechargeable solar power station through which we can have a connection to which all the equipments can be connected, the OT equipments.
So this is the X-ray station, X-ray, ultrasound as well as ECG can be done here. This is the OPD station and lab station where we are having a portable lab machine where we can carry out around 20 blood and biochemistry tests.
Here is all the stuff here. You have this shock station, you have the bleeding station, you have the chest injury you have the nebulization station, you have the burns station, and eye injury, fracture, minor wound station. Everything is here. 2 mini hospitals are there ready to serve you, and this is all made in India, made for Maldives. With cameraman Aniket Dubey in Malé, this is Vishal Beristo for DD India.
On the Maldives, stunning seaplane journeys are not just a mode of transport, they have become a key tourist attraction. And with Indian travellers now ranking as the 3rd largest group of international visitors, demand for these aerial experiences is soaring. A bird's eye view of paradise, that's what thousands of tourists enjoy every day in the Maldives thanks to its iconic seaplane services. These flights connect resort islands across the archipelago and have become a signature part of the Maldivian travel experience.
These islands are far from each other, and seaplane is the most convenient mode of connectivity which can drop the tourists at the doorstep of the resort, and it is the fastest medium. And as a seaplane industry, more than 40% of the traffic in Maldives, which is more than 2 million tourists, are annually carried by seaplane, and out of that our Trans-Maldivian Airways is the largest, which carries about 35% of the total traffic, inbound traffic of Maldives to the various resorts. So it's a very, very huge role the seaplane industry is playing in Maldives.
Indian tourists now make up the 3rd largest group of international arrivals, many eager to capture the magic from the skies. With growing demand, operators are expanding fleets and routes, making seaplanes a soaring success in the Maldives tourism story. The Maldives is witnessing a landmark moment in its infrastructure journey. The Greater Malay Connectivity Project, being built by India's Afcons Infrastructure Limited, is the largest ever infrastructure project in the island nation and a game changer for regional connectivity.
Maldives is made up of more than 1,000 islands, but the main islands where the tourists are attracted is all near the Malé, which is the capital of the country. India, as we all know it, is a major part of the constructions and the projects that are going on and that have been completed in Malé. Behind me, if you see, this particular project is named as the Greater Malay Connectivity Project, and it's a 6.74 kilometer long bridge that is being constructed by India, and it will be the largest in Maldives. Let's go and see what's the speciality of this bridge.
The Greater Malay Connectivity Project is the largest ever infrastructure project in the island nation and a game changer for regional connectivity. The 6.7 kilometers long bridge and causeway network will link the capital Malé with Willingili, Gulifalu and the industrial island of Thilafushi, ushering in a new era of seamless travel across the key islands. 3 major navigation bridges, each 140 meters long, will span deep water channels.
This bridge helps joining the Malay capital to Willingili, Willingili to Gulipalu, and Gulipal to Tilapuchi. Tilapuchi, the industrial hub. It benefits Maldives in better.
The project also includes 1.41 kilometers of marine viaduct, 2.32 kilometers of shallow waters, and nearly 3 kilometers of at-grade roads.
This project, we worked in deep waters, which are the maximum of about 55-meter depth, and we have done piling up to 122 meter long, and pile diameters of 2.6 meter diameter. And in the conditions, in rough weather conditions, we have completed the piling in this project.
With segments weighing over 240 tons, the project is also leading the way in smart mobility, with signalized junctions and solar-powered lighting integrated into its design.
Once the Greater Malay Connectivity Project is completed, it will transform daily life by making travel easier, trade smoother, and opportunities more accessible across islands. This bridge is not just concrete and steel, it's a symbol of India-Maldives friendship, a bridge of trust and progress and shared dreams. With camera person Aniket Dubey, this is Shama Mishra for DD India, Malé, Maldives.
Industry leaders hailed the signing of the India-UK Free Trade Agreement as a transformative step in bilateral economic ties. India and the United Kingdom on Thursday signed the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement. This historic accord ushers in a new era of strategic partnership, strengthening economic ties, streamlining trade processes, and unlocking expansive investment opportunities across sectors. Calling it a historic day in India-UK relations, PM Modi said that Indian textiles, footwear, gems and jewellery, seafood and engineering goods will get better marketing access in the United Kingdom. The processed food industry will also find new opportunities in the UK market. For his part, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer said that the trade deal is the most significant agreement that the UK has made since leaving the European Union. He said that the deal will bring huge benefits to both the countries. The Free Trade Agreement aims to boost trade, innovation and investment. Industry leaders view FTA as a crucial step in deepening cooperation in key areas.
Encouragement of joint ventures in solar and hydrogen sectors envisaged under the agreement would help companies from both the countries to not only provide state-of-the-art solutions in both these countries but across the globe. The inclusion of business mobility under the agreement will allow for short-term business travel and would open up several opportunities in engineering services segment in UK and Europe through nearshoring.
The recently agreed India-UK trade deal is a welcoming news. Great work by the leaders of both countries, especially Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who travelled to sign this landmark deal in the UK. By reducing tariffs and creating smoother trade pathways, this deal opens up even bigger opportunities. This is not just a trade agreement, it's a gateway to growth, collaboration and long-term success.
This is a historic moment as far as the FTA is concerned. It is not just a business deal, it is actually a cultural bridge. This agreement actually opens doors for artists, the filmmakers, musicians to collaborate between these two great nations. Hats off and grateful to our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji.
Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. PM Modi becomes the second longest consecutively serving Prime Minister in India's history, surpassing late Indira Gandhi's tenure by a day. Israel and US recall delegations from Gaza ceasefire talks amid accusations against Hamas.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has surpassed former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi to become the second longest serving PM of India in consecutive terms. As PM, Narendra Modi marks 4,078 consecutive days in office on July 25th. 2025, he also holds several historic distinctions. PM Modi is the first and only Prime Minister born after independence, the longest-serving non-Congress PM and the longest-serving Prime Minister from a non-Hindi-speaking state. As an elected head of government in state and at the centre, Narendra Modi already enjoys the longest stint. He became Gujarat Chief Minister in 2001 and remained in the office before taking over as Prime Minister in 2014. Known for his grassroots connect and strong communication style, Modi served as Gujarat's Chief Minister for over a decade before leading the BJP to a historic national victory in 2014. Since then, he has positioned himself as a key global leader, projecting India as a confident, assertive voice on the world stage. And in a tragic incident, at least 4 children were killed and 17 others injured in western Indian state of Rajasthan after the roof of a school building collapsed on Friday. Dozens are still feared to be trapped under the rubble. Locals gathered around the site of the collapse as the authorities used a crane to remove the debris. As per media reports, the students were attending classes in a government school in Jhalawar when the building collapsed. Taking to social media X, Rajasthan Chief Minister Bhajan Lal Sharma has condoled the death of the students and instructed the concerned authorities to ensure proper treatment for the injured children. A Prasar Bharati car drive was inaugurated by the Chief of the Air Staff with 40 vehicles taking part, including 30 electric and 10 hybrid cars, highlighting a message of environmental conservation. The rally will proceed from national capital of Delhi to Ambala, continue to Adampur and then make its way back along the same path. During Operation Sindoor, these 3 Air Force stations served as key bases. The rally will visit universities along the route to introduce students to the valour of the Indian Armed Forces. The total distance covered will be around 800 kilometres. In international updates, Iran is ready to engage in talks with the United States on its nuclear program, but only if Washington takes meaningful steps to rebuild the trust. Iran is set to meet on Friday in Istanbul with Britain, France and Germany, known as E3 nations, and the European Union's Deputy Foreign Policy Commissioner. Friday's talks will be held at the deputy ministerial level. Iran's Deputy Foreign Minister Kazem Gharibabadi said that to enter negotiations, Iran sought several key principles to be upheld. Iranian officials have warned that a move to reimpose sanctions would have consequences. Gharibabadi said earlier this week that it could force Tehran to withdraw from key non-proliferation agreements. This will be the first talks since Iran's 12-day conflict with Israel in June, which involved US B-52 bombers striking nuclear facilities in Iran. A similar meeting was held in Istanbul in May. More updates from West Asia. Israel and the United States recalled their delegation from Gaza ceasefire talks for consultations on Thursday. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff blamed Hamas for failing to reach a deal. In a social media post, Witkoff said mediators had made a great effort, but Hamas does not appear to be coordinated or acting in good faith. He further added that U.S. will consider alternative options to bring the hostages home and try to create a more stable environment for the people of Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said his government was still seeking a ceasefire despite recalling its negotiators from Doha, accusing Hamas of blocking an agreement. The withdrawal marked the latest setback in efforts to secure a deal that would bring a ceasefire to Gaza and secure the release of Israeli hostages held by Hamas. Now, Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer said he would hold an emergency call on Friday with France and Germany on the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. In a strongly worded statement late on Thursday, UK PM Starmer said he would discuss with European partners what can be done urgently to provide humanitarian aid to the people of Gaza. He also called on Israel to allow aid into the Gaza enclave. Starmer said he supported US, Qatari and Egyptian efforts to secure a ceasefire in Gaza. Israel, which cut off all supplies to Gaza from the start of March and reopened the flow with new restrictions in May, says it is committed to allowing aid in but must control it to prevent it from being diverted by Hamas. Moving on, French President Emmanuel Macron said on Thursday France will recognize a Palestinian state in September at the United Nations General Assembly, adding that he hoped it would help bring peace to the region. Macron published a letter sent to Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas confirming France's intention to become the first major Western power to recognize a Palestinian state. France will become the first major Western country to recognize a Palestinian state, potentially giving greater momentum to a movement so far dominated by smaller nations that are generally more critical of Israel. The decision is likely to spark anger in Israel and Washington. In a diplomatic cable in June, the United States said it opposed any steps that would unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state. The U.S. has meanwhile rejected France's move to recognize the state of Palestine. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has condemned France's decision to officially recognize the state of Palestine. In a strong worded post on social media platform X, the top U.S. diplomat has stated that decision is a slap in the face to the victims of October 7 attack. Now, the federal government of Canada announced that it is imposing new 25% tariffs on a broad range of imports from the United States with immediate effect. The sweeping measure covers nearly $30 billion worth of U.S. goods, including steel and aluminium products, and marks a significant escalation in the ongoing trade standoff between Ottawa and Washington. DD India's Tarun Paul Singh gets us this report.
The 25% surtax will hit a wide spectrum of American exports. Crucially, targets U.S. steels and aluminium entering Canada, the very metals at the heart of this dispute. But the list doesn't stop there. It spans dozens of other categories, from industrial materials to everyday consumer products. Canadians can expect higher prices on items ranging from orange juice and peanut butter to wine, beer, appliances, and even motorcycles, all of which are among the U.S. goods now facing tariffs. In short, the tariff list touches everything from raw material to food and household items, underscoring how broad the retaliatory measures are. Canadian officials are characterizing these tariffs as direct countermeasure to U.S. trade actions. According to a government statement, the 25% duties will remain in place until the U.S. eliminates its tariffs against Canadian steels and aluminium products, a clear reference to the American levies that sparked this retaliation. Ottawa insists that it has little choice but to respond in kind to order defend Canadian industries and jobs. Prime Minister Mark Carney has argued that the Washington moves left Canada no option but to stand up for our national economic interest. Action by Canada comes on the heel of a series of aggressive US trade measures that have upended the normal Canada-US trading relationship. Since his return to office in January, US President Donald Trump has steadily raised barriers against Canadian imports. In early February, Trump imposed 25% tariff on most goods from Canada under a national security pretext tied to drug and border concerns. He then retashed up pressure further. In June, he doubled US imports duties on steel and aluminium to 50%, a move that struck directly at Canadian metal and exporters. And just weeks ago, the White House warned of even broader measures. Trump announced plans to slap a 35% tariff on all Canadian imports by August 1 if his demands weren't met. These US action, unprecedented against American closest ally, set the stage to the retaliation we are now seeing from Ottawa. Canada officials note that the Washington tariff violates the spirit of the USMCA Free Trade Pact and were introduced to pressure Canada on issues like fentanyl trafficking, like Ottawa calls a false excuse. For now, however, neither side is blinking. The Canadian government's stance is that it will maintain this counter tariff dollar for dollar until Washington reverse course, and President Trump, known for his handling trade position, appears prepared to continue the confrontation, believing it gives him leverage. The result is that the Canada-US trade relationship has entered uncharted territory. From Canada, this is Tarun Paul Singh.
Well, sports updates now. In a historic moment for Indian chess, Koneru Humpy is set to face Divya Deshmukh in the final of the FIDE Women's Chess World Cup in Georgia. The clash marks a significant milestone, with two Indian players reaching the final of one of the most prestigious global tournaments in women's chess. Humpy is a veteran and former world rapid champion, while Divya, a rising star, continues her impressive run on the global stage. The final not only highlights India's growing dominance in women's chess, but also showcases the strength of its next generation of talent. Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India Live, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.